My name is Evelyn. I am 31 years old. And for a long time, I thought I was losing my mind. When I suggested couples therapy, my boyfriend stared at me like I'd just told a bad joke. "You can't be serious, right?" he said, leaning back on the couch, arms crossed. "I am serious," I replied. He laughed. Not amused, not surprised. That sharp, dismissive laugh that always made my stomach tighten. "Therapy is for broken people." I nodded slowly. Exactly. That was the moment his smile faded. Because that was also the moment I reached into my laptop bag and handed him the folder. I had been with Marcus Reynolds for 3 years. We'd lived together for 2. The apartment was mine. I'd rented it long before we met. At the time, that felt like stability. Later, it felt like leverage he hated me having. Looking back, the warning signs were everywhere. But love doesn't arrive with subtitles, and manipulation rarely announces itself. It starts small. "You never told me that." "That's not how it happened." "Why are you always so sensitive?" Little comments, quiet corrections, each one shaving away at my confidence, just enough to make me doubt myself. The first time I remember feeling genuinely unsettled was 18 months in. We had a huge argument about plans with my older sister. Marcus insisted I'd promised to cancel them for him. I hadn't. I was sure I hadn't. By the end of the night, I was apologizing anyway, crying, promising to communicate better. That night, I opened the Notes app on my phone and typed one sentence. I did not promise to cancel. Just in case. The notes became a habit. Dates, times, exact phrases when I could remember them. Not because I wanted ammunition, but because I needed anchors. I started reading about emotional manipulation, gaslighting, personality patterns. Not to label him, but to understand why I felt like I was disappearing inside my own life. One term kept resurfacing. Narcissistic personality disorder. I wasn't diagnosing Marcus. I still loved him. I wanted to believe he was hurting, not hurting me on purpose. But the patterns were impossible to ignore. The admiration hunger, the empathy gaps, the explosive rage when criticized, the way every conflict somehow became my fault. I printed research, highlighted sections, cross-referenced them with my notes. 18 months of documentation. Not to win, to survive. The night I suggested therapy, we were eating Thai takeout. Because it had been my night to cook, but Marcus decided he was too tired. I'd rehearsed the words all week. "What would you think about us trying couples therapy?" I asked. He didn't even look up from his phone. "You can't be serious." "I am." That laugh again. "Therapy is for broken people." I took a breath. Exactly. He looked up then. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means something isn't working," I said carefully. "Maybe it's me, maybe it's you, maybe it's us. But something is broken." "There's nothing wrong with me," he snapped. "You're the one who starts fights." I reached for the folder. 83 pages. Color-coded. Tabs. Printed research. Screenshots. Timelines. "What's that?" he asked. I handed it to him. "Research on narcissistic personality disorder," I said quietly, "and documentation about our relationship." His face drained of color as he flipped through it. "You've been documenting me?" "I've been documenting reality," I replied. "Because every time I tried to talk, you told me I was remembering it wrong." "This is insane," he whispered, then louder. "This is insane! You've been spying on me!" "I've been protecting my sanity." He threw the folder at me. Pages scattered across the floor like confessions. "I'm not a narcissist," he yelled. "You're just trying to make me the villain because you can't accept you're the problem." "I'm not diagnosing you," I said. "I'm asking for help." "No, absolutely not." "Then we're done." The word stunned him. "What?" "If you won't work on this with me, I can't stay." He stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I slept on the couch that night. And for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. I woke up the next morning to someone standing over me. Marcus. His eyes were bloodshot, his jaw tight. The coffee mug in his hand was shaking. "I stayed up all night reading that garbage," he said. "And I've had some thoughts." I sat up slowly on this couch, heart pounding but strangely calm. This wasn't fear anymore. It was recognition. "You manipulated everything in there," he continued. "You took things out of context. You twisted my words. This is defamation." "Defamation requires publication to a third party," I said evenly. "This is a private document." "Don't lawyer speak me," he snapped. "I'm not. I'm telling you what the word means." "I could sue you." "You could try," I replied. "You'd lose, but you could try." That's when he threw the mug. It didn't hit me. It shattered against the wall behind the couch. Ceramic everywhere. It was the first time he'd ever gotten violent with an object in front of me. I'd suspected it before. Broken things. Cracks that hadn't been there, but this was confirmation. "I want you out," he said, breathing hard. This is my apartment, I replied. My name is on the lease. I've lived here 5 years. You moved in 2 years ago. I pay rent. You pay $400 a month for groceries, I said, which you insisted was fair because you make less than me. The rent is $18.50. His face shifted through disbelief, anger, then something like panic. I have rights, he said. You can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out, I said calmly. I'm breaking up with you. He stared at me like I'd slapped him. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. He called his mother within the hour. She called me 10 minutes later. How dare you treat my son this way, she snapped the moment I answered. He's given you 3 years of his life. With respect, I said, your son spent those 3 years making me feel like I was losing my mind. What kind of psycho documents their relationship? The kind who keeps getting told she's imagining things. You're crazy, she said flatly. Marcus is a wonderful, loving man. Then I guess we agree on one thing, I replied. I don't deserve him. I hung up. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The next few days were emotional whiplash. Marcus cycled through rage and tears like flipping a switch. He screamed, then sobbed, then begged, then screamed again when I didn't cave. On the third day, he tried something new. Seduction. He wore the shirt he knew I loved. Cooked dinner. Lit candles. Acted like nothing had happened. I've been thinking, he said sweetly. Maybe we could try that therapy thing, if it means that much to you. Relief flickered in my chest. Okay, I said. I already found someone. She specializes in relationship dynamics. She has an opening Tuesday. His smile faltered. Wait, you already made an appointment? I wanted to be ready. I said maybe, he corrected quickly. I need to think about it more. You just said, see, he snapped. This is what you do. You twist everything I say. Just like that, we were back at the beginning. I picked up my folder and added a new entry. He stared at me. Are you seriously writing this down right now? Yes. You're sick, he said. You know that, right? Maybe, I replied. That's why I want us to see a professional. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. And honestly, it was peaceful. A week later, the messages started coming in. Not from Marcus, from everyone else. Evelyn, what the hell is going on? Why would you do something like that to him? Documenting your boyfriend? That's extreme. I stared at my phone, my hands going cold. He had moved fast, faster than I expected. Marcus had been telling anyone who would listen that I was psychologically abusing him, that I was obsessive, controlling, that I had been secretly building a case against him to convince him he was mentally ill. In his version of the story, he was the victim, and I was the unstable one. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself online. I sent the same response to everyone. I'm happy to talk in person. I'll show you everything. Then you can decide. 2 people accepted. 1 didn't respond at all. The first was Daniel, a friend I'd known since college. He'd seen me through breakups before, seen me strong, seen me stupidly in love. He sat at my kitchen table for over an hour, flipping through the folder in silence. Finally, he looked up. Eve, this is a lot. I know. Some of this is genuinely disturbing. I nodded. He stopped on 1 page and frowned. Wait, he really told you that you made up your grandmother's death to get out of his friend's birthday dinner? Yes, but she died 2 days before the party. I showed him the obituary, I said. He said I probably planned it that way. Daniel stared at me like I'd just spoken another language. Planned? Your grandmother's death? According to him, I stressed her out on purpose. Daniel closed the folder slowly. That's not normal, he said quietly. That's not even manipulation. That's cruelty. He left on my side, promised to correct the story whenever my name came up. The second meeting was harder. Lena, one of Marcus's coworkers, we'd bonded at company events. Drinks, casual dinners. I could tell she came in skeptical, until she saw the screenshots. The texts where Marcus called me pathetic, worthless, lucky anyone would even put up with you. She swallowed hard. He wrote this to you? Last Christmas, I said, because I got him a necklace instead of a bracelet. He told us you forgot to get him anything. Check the date, I said gently. December 22nd. I'd given him the gift the night before. Her face changed. Something cracked. She didn't say much after that, but she stopped participating in the group chat where I was being labeled a monster. I counted that as a win. That's when Marcus announced his escape. He posted vague messages online about finally leaving an abusive situation, told people he was moving out to stay with his sister until he found a place of his own. Great, I said when he told me. When are you leaving? Saturday. Perfect. I'll be here if you need help carrying boxes. I don't need your help, he snapped. What he didn't mention was the rest of the story he was telling, that I was withholding his belongings. So when his father showed up Friday night demanding I release Marcus's possessions, I was genuinely confused. Everything he owns is exactly where he left it, I said. Nothing is locked. Nothing is hidden. He said you locked up his clothes. The closet is open, I replied. You're welcome to check. He did. Came back looking embarrassed. I'd suggest you start fact-checking his claims, I said quietly. He left without another word. Later, I heard he'd had a long conversation with his son. It hadn't gone well. Even Marcus's own family was starting to notice the pattern. Saturday was coming, and with it, the end. Saturday arrived with the sound of a rental truck backing into the parking lot. I watched from the window as Marcus's sister jumped out, already scowling, already armed with judgment. She didn't look at me when she walked in. Neither did Marcus. They packed loudly. Drawers slammed. Boxes dragged across the floor. Furniture scraped like they wanted the apartment to remember them. I stayed on the couch. Didn't help. Didn't interfere. Didn't rise to it. 4 hours passed like that. Then Marcus stopped in front of me. You're going to regret this, he said. You'll never find anyone as good as me. I looked up at him, really looked. The man I'd bent myself into knots for. The man who needed me, small to feel tall. Probably not, I said calmly, but I hope I find someone better. His face twisted. For a second, I thought he might hit me. Instead, he grabbed his bag, stormed out, and slammed the door so hard the walls shook. And just like that, 3 years of my life walked out. I didn't cry right away. I sat there breathing, counting each inhale like my therapist would later teach me to do. Then I opened every window. Let the air in, let his scent out. I ordered pizza. It was the first meal I'd enjoyed in months. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from a lawyer. Marcus was suing me. Emotional distress, invasion of privacy, illegal surveillance. According to the filing, my documentation was an elaborate attempt to gaslight him into believing he had a mental disorder. I laughed. Then I called my lawyer. He read the letter and started laughing too. This is frivolous, he said. One-party consent recordings are legal here. Written documentation of your own experiences isn't surveillance, and you never published any of it. So what do? We respond, he said. And when this gets thrown out, we countersue for attorney fees. And discovery? That's the fun part, he said. He'll have to turn over every communication he's ever made about you. I authorized him to proceed. What came out in discovery was illuminating. Texts to his sister calling me controlling because I asked him to help with groceries. Messages to his mother claiming I was isolating him because I suggested boundaries with friends who used him for money. Group chats with coworkers describing me as unstable for being upset when he forgot our anniversary. But the thing that saved me? Marcus's own notes. He kept them too. Not as carefully, not as consistently, but enough. Messages bragging about how easy I was to manipulate, laughing about how quickly I'd apologize, calling me too dumb to notice. My lawyer filed a motion to dismiss with sanctions. The judge granted it. The case was thrown out. Marcus's attorney was ordered to pay my legal fees. I heard later that Marcus tried to blame the lawyer. The lawyer dropped him as a client. His mother called me one last time. You ruined my son's life. No, I said calmly. I documented it. She hung up. I blocked the number. I started therapy. Just me. No gaslighting, no rewriting. Some friends came back, some didn't. That was okay. Last week, I threw away the folder. All 83 pages. It didn't feel dramatic. It felt like taking out the trash. Because that's what it was. I wasn't crazy. I never was. I was just with someone who needed me to believe I was. And now, I don't.